Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Dr. Barki's Ophthalmology Tutorials. It will be very easy to clear your theory exams if you attempt all your 3 markers properly. You can fetch out of out marks in the 3 markers or the short answer questions. Thereby you will be almost reaching the passing marks of the theory. And the second part where students are scared is the Viva questions in the practicals. So I have made an attempt to cover most of the 3 marker questions as well as Viva questions. I will be covering 3 markers as well as the Viva questions from the conjunctival. Valuable suggestions and comments about my video so that I can improvise in my further videos. And please tell which chapter you want at the earliest to be discussed, as most of the students are having the exams in near future. At the end, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the button icon for the further notifications. So without much delay, we will start the video. Thank you. Okay, so let's start with 3 mark questions from the conjunctival chapter. The first question can be the parts of the conjunctiva. Just see whether it is a 3 mark question or 5 mark question. If it is asked for 5 marks question, then you write the parts of conjunctiva in detail and explain about the parts, explain about the glands of the conjunctiva as well as little bit about the blood supply. If it is only for 3 marks, just write this diagram. The red dotted line shows the conjunctiva here. So the conjunctiva has 3 parts. This is the palpebral part, the bulbar part and the pharyngeal part. The palpebral part again is divided into the marginal conjunctiva, tarsal conjunctiva as well as the orbital part. The marginal conjunctiva extends from the lid margin here and extends just about 2 mm back to the lid surface on the back side of the lid. The tarsal conjunctiva is firmly adherent to the tarsal plate, whereas the orbital part of the palpebral conjunctiva is loosely adherent. Next is the orbital or the bulbar conjunctiva, which is covering over the sclera. It is loosely adherent to the sclera. Then the pharyngeal part, which lies at the junction of the eyelids and the eyeball. This pharyngeal conjunctiva is held in place by few fibers of the LPS muscle. So this is about the parts of conjunctiva. If you see from anterior, so this is the bulbar conjunctiva, and you can see this whole thing is called as conjunctival sac. From the palpebral conjunctiva to the bulbar conjunctiva, if you close the eyelids, it is forming a sac. This is called as the conjunctival sac, and it is open at the medial end. That is called as the plica semilunaris, and there is one elevated nodule-like thing that is called as caruncle. The next question can be, write the histological structure of the conjunctiva. The histological structure consists of, the first part is the epithelium, the second is adenoid layer, and the third is the fibrous layer. The epithelium has some peculiarity, means the layers change with the parts of the conjunctiva. It is almost 2 to 5 layered structure, non-keratinized. At the marginal conjunctiva, it is 5 layered. As it goes to the tarsal part, it becomes 2. As it goes to the fornix and the bulbar, 3. At the limbus, it becomes 5 layered again. So from the margin 5, tarsal 2, fornix and the bulbar 3, again at the limbus 5, and it contains the goblet cells. The second layer is the adenoid or the lymphoid layer, which consists of the connective tissue with the lymphocytes, and it is more developed at the fornix, and it is not developed till 3 to 4 months of the age of the babies. So till 3 to 4 months of the age, you will not see the adenoid layer at the lymphoid layer. The next layer is the fibrous layer, which contains collagen and the elastic fibers. The vessels and nerves lie in this layer only, the fibrous layer, and it blends with the underlying sclera. The next question is the glands of conjunctiva. The glands of conjunctiva can be divided into the mucin secreting glands and the lacrimal gland, or the accessory lacrimal gland. The mucin secreting glands are the goblet cells, the crypts of Henle and the Munn's glands. Crypts of Henle, Munn's glands and the mucin secreting gland, that is goblet cells, which are distributed all over the epithelium of the conjunctiva. Coming to accessory lacrimal glands, there are two accessory lacrimal glands, that is glands of Kruse as well as glands of Wolfring. So these two secrete the water component of the tear film. The glands of Kruse and the glands of Wolfring secrete the water component. The mucin secreting glands, that is goblet cells, glands of Munz and glands of Henle secrete the mucin component of the tear film. Moving on to the next question, that is red eye. Red eye, it can be asked as write 3 causes of red eye. It can be simple 3-mark question. So the causes can be the conjunctivitis, which is caused by H. influenza, the acute congestive glaucoma and acute anterior uveitis. Even the subconjunctival hemorrhage can also be a cause for red eye. And same question can be asked for 5 mark. Then you will have to differentiate these 3 from by their symptoms, signs, onset, all those. So you have to tabulate if it is asked for 5 mark and write the differences. If it is only for 3 mark, you can just write this much. The next 5th question is the angular conjunctivitis. The angular conjunctivitis is nothing but the conjunctivitis which is involving mainly the lid margin and the conjunctiva near the angles, that is the medial angle and the lateral angle, or the lateral canthus and the medial canthus. It is caused by the Moraxella axenfeld bacillus. The source of infection is from the nasal cavity. Symptoms include dirty white foamy discharge at the angles. The signs include hyperemia of the bulbar conjunctiva near the medial and the lateral canthi, excoriation of the skin around the angle. So next, the treatment is the oxytetracycline 1% eye ointment 2 to 3 times a day, or you can use zinc lotion. So this much you can write for the 3 mark. Next question, 6th question is pannus. This is most commonly asked question. Pannus is nothing but the corneal infiltration along with the vascularization. So there are two components, infiltration and the vascularization. And it is divided into progressive and regressive. Remember, that depends upon the infiltration. It is called as progressive if the infiltration is ahead of the vascularization. It is called as regressive if vascularization is ahead of infiltration. Okay, and it is most commonly seen in trachoma. This is about pannus. Coming to concretions. Concretions are nothing but hard looking whitish deposits which are seen on the tarsal conjunctiva or the palpebral conjunctiva. The size varies from pinpoint to 2 mm and it is due to accumulation of the dead epithelial cells and the mucus in the glands of Henle. The treatment includes little hot fermentation which can reduce which can liquefy the secretion, or it should be removed with the needle. Coming to causes of giant papillary conjunctivitis. The causes of giant papillary conjunctivitis are soft contact lens usage, artificial eye, sutures, especially the nylon sutures, and the scleral buckle. These can cause giant papillary conjunctivitis. Again, the most favorite question, the difference between follicle and the papillae. So in this, you have to tabulate. In that you write the first table, the appearance. The appearance of the follicle is like boiled sago grain appearance. Whereas the papillae, it is reddish, flat topped, gives a red velvety appearance. Coming to location, the follicles are more common in the upper tarsal conjunctiva and the fornix. Whereas the papillae are more common in the tarsal conjunctiva, more common in lower, can also be seen in upper palpebral conjunctiva. And the follicles, if seen on the bulbar conjunctiva, if seen on the bulbar conjunctiva, it is pathognomic of trachoma. Coming to the pathological feature, it is very important. In follicle, there will be central Leber cells which are surrounded by lymphocytes, further surrounded by blood vessels. Whereas in papillae, it is the central dilated blood vessels surrounded by lymphocytes which are again covered by the hypertrophied epithelial cells. So this is about difference between follicle and papillae. Difference with respect to appearance, with respect to location and pathology. So one more question is, or they can ask it as, what is SAFE strategy? It is nothing but a prophylaxis for prevention of the trachoma. So one of the WHO's GET 2020 programs includes this. GET means Global Elimination of Trachoma by 2020. SAFE means you should expand that. S is for surgery, A for antibiotic usage, A for facial hygiene, and E for environmental changes. Again, depending upon the marks, you should elaborate. Bilateral inflammation of conjunctiva seen in infants less than 30 days. The source of and mode of infection can be before delivery or during delivery or after birth. And the sources can be the chemical injury or the chemical agent, gonococcal infection or other bacterial infection, chlamydial infection or the herpes infection. So depending upon the causative agent, the incubation period also varies. So just tabulate and write. If it is the chemical source is the cause, then the incubation period is 6 hours. Gonococcal infection 2 to 5 days. Other bacterial infections like staphylococcus, streptococcus or the pneumococcus, the incubation period is 5 to 8 days. If it is chlamydial infection, 5 to 14 days. And if it is herpes simplex infection, 6 to 15 days. Coming to the next question, that is flictanular conjunctivitis. It is an allergic response to some endogenous allergens. The allergens can be tuberculosis, staphylococcus protein, or even some worm infestation. So it presents as one or more pinkish whitish nodules at or near the limbus. The corneal involvement can also occur, then it is called as flictanular keratoconjunctivitis. If it is involving the cornea, it can present as sacrophilous ulcer, that is nothing but shallow marginal ulcer, or it can be a fascicular ulcer which has prominent parallel leash of blood vessels, or it can present as miliary ulcer, which is nothing but multiple small ulcer all over the cornea. So if the question is flictanular keratoconjunctivitis, write about the corneal involvement also. If it is only for conjunctivitis, you can limit to the conjunctiva. Coming to next question, pterygium. Pterygium is nothing but a wing-shaped triangular fold of conjunctiva encroaching onto the cornea with a vascularized granulation in the interpalpebral area. It is due to allostatic degeneration of the subconjunctival tissue. The main pathology is the loss of stem cells at the limbus. So the conjunctival epithelial cells grow over the cornea. The parts of the pterygium are head, neck, body and the cap. There are two types, progressive and regressive. Progressive has the cap is very fleshy and vascular. The regressive is whitish, thin and atrophic. Coming to the treatment of pterygium, it can be medical treatment or surgical treatment. Medically, just treat symptomatically that by giving lubricating eye drops, and to reduce inflammation, give topical steroids. Surgical treatment includes surgical excision of the pterygium followed by conjunctival autograft or followed by amniotic membrane graft, or surgical excision with mitomycin C 0.02% application, or surgical excision with lamellar keratectomy. This is for your 3-mark question of pterygium. The next question, subconjunctival hemorrhage. This is nothing but collection of blood in the subconjunctival space. The causes are, it can be secondary to trauma, few viruses like picornavirus, pneumococcal infection or the leptospirochetes can also cause subconjunctival hemorrhage. The sudden venous congestion of the head, even the diabetes and the hypertension, bleeding disorders and bleeding diathesis, all these can cause subconjunctival hemorrhage. In subconjunctival hemorrhage, it's always important to look for the cause. When coming to symptoms, it is patient usually comes with the symptom of red eye. So there will be a red eye as a symptom, and the signs, in signs always look for the borders of the subconjunctival hemorrhage. If you can make out all the borders, it tells that it is secondary to the local trauma to the eye. If you are not able to see the border, then you should look for the injury to the skull and the brain structures as well. Treatment, it is usually self-limiting. It gets absorbed in 7 to 21 days. Just to enhance the absorption, you can give cold compression as well as vitamin C supplements. Next question is Pinguicula. Pinguicula, the meaning of the Pinguicula is the fat. Means because of the appearance, the name is given. It is due to hyaline infiltration and elastotic degeneration of the submucous tissue. It is a triangular patch near the limbus on the palpebral conjunctiva, and it is usually stationary, usually bilateral, and there is no need of any treatment for this. Coming to difference between pterygium and pseudopterygium. This is also most common question. So with respect to this, you differentiate between pterygium and pseudopterygium, tabulate and write. Coming to location, pterygium is usually in the interpalpebral area. Pseudopterygium can be anywhere. Causes, the pterygium is usually a degenerative condition, whereas pseudopterygium is secondary to some chemical injury or trauma. The age, pterygium usually occurs in the elderly age group. Pseudopterygium can occur at any age group. Stages, pterygium has progressive and regressive, whereas pseudopterygium usually atrophic. Probe test, the probe can't be passed in case of pterygium, whereas xerophthalmia is nothing but dry, lusterless condition of the conjunctiva due to deficiency of the mucin. Here there is mucin layer deficiency of the tear film. The causes can be secondary to the cicatricial degenerations of the conjunctival epithelium. So there is no mucus secretion from the conjunctival epithelium. It becomes dermoid-like, that of the skin with a granular and the horny layer. The Corynebacterium xerosis profusely grows in such conjunctiva and gives the appearance of the foamy thing what you see in the xerophthalmia. Has no causal relationship here. It is just a bacteria which is growing more profusely in the xerophthalmic eyes. It can also be associated with the vitamin A deficiency, but here it will be of the milder form, which is seen as Bitot spot. So the treatment includes artificial tears, dark goggles, and the vitamin A supplementation. The next question is the 18th question, keratoconjunctivitis sicca or the Jokeren syndrome. It is due to deficiency of the aqueous component of the tear film. More common in women after menopause. It can also be associated with rheumatoid arthritis. Symptoms include dry eye symptoms. Signs are the cornea can also get affected, leading to filaments. Filaments are nothing but one end is attached to the cornea, the other end is freely mobile, and it can be stained with a rose bengal. So the similar thing can also be seen in the salivary glands also, because of the infiltration of the lymphocytes into the lacrimal gland as well as salivary gland. They stop functioning, so they will not produce the water component. The next question, the Bitot spot. These are nothing but small triangular white patches on either side of the cornea, resembling dried foam, and it is not wet by the tears. Seen in vitamin A deficiency, these foamy spots are due to gas produced by Corynebacterium xerosis. The last question of the 3 markers is Symblyferon. What is Symblyferon and mention the causes can be a question. It is nothing but adhesion between the bulbar and the palpebral conjunctiva. The causes can be chemical injury, thermal injury, cicatrizing conjunctival diseases, Stevens-Johnson syndrome, pemphigoid, and the treatment includes the surgery with the Symblyferon release and the mucous membrane or the amniotic membrane graft. So now we will move on to the Viva questions. In Viva again, they can ask it as define conjunctiva. It is a translucent mucous membrane which lines posterior surface of the eyelids and the anterior surface of the sclera. Then they can ask the meaning of conjunctiva. It is nothing but conjoin, means to join the lids and the eyeball. The parts of conjunctiva I have explained already. Then the follicular reaction, they usually ask whether a child will develop a follicular reaction following conjunctivitis. The answer is no. Till 3 to 4 months of the age, the child will not develop follicular reaction. Coming to glands of conjunctiva, I have explained already, that is the mucin secreting glands and the lacrimal secreting glands, or the accessory lacrimal glands. The plica semilunaris, this is nothing but a crescentic fold of conjunctiva, pinkish in color, near the medial canthus. It is a vestigial structure and represents the nictitating membrane or the third eye of the lower animals. So the next question is, what is caruncle? It is a small ovoid shaped mass at the inner canthus, nothing but modified skin. So it contains the stratified squamous epithelium, the sweat glands, sebaceous glands and hair. They can ask about the blood supply of the conjunctiva. The conjunctiva is supplied by the peripheral arterial arcade of the eyelid as well as the marginal arterial arcade of the eyelid and also the anterior ciliary artery. So from the eyelid, peripheral and the marginal arterial arcade, and from in the bulbar it is the anterior ciliary arteries. The lymphatic drainage of the conjunctiva, the lateral side of the conjunctiva drains into the preauricular lymph nodes, the medial side drains into the submandibular lymph nodes. Define conjunctivitis and causes can be a question in your viva. Conjunctivitis is nothing but inflammation of conjunctiva. The causes can be infective, allergic, or it can be cicatricial causes or the toxic causes. Mention the natural protective mechanisms of the eye. These are nothing but the protection from eyelids, the flushing action of the tears, the lysosomes which are present in the tears, the immunoglobulins present in tears, and the low temperature of the conjunctival sac. The red eye and its causes I have discussed. Causes of colored halos. This is again a favorite question. The causes of colored halos are acute congestive glaucoma, intumescent cataract, and the mucopurulent conjunctivitis. How do you differentiate the trachoma follicles from other follicles? So this depends upon the location. As I told, the trachoma follicles are usually present around the limbus, whereas other follicles can be present in the fornical conjunctiva or the palpebral conjunctiva. And histologically, Leber cells and signs of necrosis are pathognomic of trachoma. These are not present in other follicles. Coming to the Arlt's line, it is nothing but a linear scar present in the sulcus subtarsalis part of the conjunctiva, seen in trachoma in the stage of cicatrization. The next similar word is the Arlt's triangle. It is seen in case of the anterior uveitis. On the posterior surface of cornea, the capes are seen in the space which is almost like a triangle. This is called as Arlt's triangle. So what are the sequelae of trachoma? The sequelae of trachoma can be in cornea, in the lid, or in the lacrimal gland. In the cornea, it can leave opacity. There can be ectasia or the protrusion of the cornea, xerosis, and the pannus formation. In case of lid, it can be trichiasis, entropion, tylosis or ptosis. Even the madrosis can occur, and the ankyloblepharon. In case of lacrimal apparatus, glands, it can lead to chronic dacroadenitis. Lacrimal sac, it can lead to chronic dacrocystitis. The only complication of the trachoma is the corneal ulcer. Next, coming to causes of follicular conjunctivitis. Just remember adenoviral conjunctivitis, Newcastle conjunctivitis, and acute herpetic conjunctivitis. All this can lead to follicular reaction. Causes of hemorrhagic conjunctivitis, picornovirus, especially the enterovirus type 70, and the Coxsackie virus, that is A24. What is Credes method? In past, they used to use 1% silver nitrate eye ointment to treat the ophthalmia neonatal babies. So that is called as Credes method. Next is ophthalmia nodosa. It is nothing but caterpillar hair conjunctivitis. It is granulomatous inflammation of conjunctiva due to retained hair of caterpillar. So that leads to formation of nodule. So the excision of nodule is the treatment. Coming to Horner-Strantas spot seen in vernal keratoconjunctivitis, these are nothing but discrete white dots seen around the limbus, which consist of eosinophils and the epithelial debris. Here you can draw a diagram and show in viva also, or the 3 markers you can draw a diagram and show. Coming to shield ulcer, it is also seen in vernal keratoconjunctivitis. These are nothing but shallow transverse ulcer in the upper part of the cornea. It is due to epithelial microerosions from the papillae which are present on the undersurface of the lid. So it should be treated with the steroids along with other treatment options of the vernal keratoconjunctivitis. This is the only ulcer which is treated with steroids. Next, coming to types of papillae. It can be micropapillae if the size is less than 0.3 mm, macropapillae between 0.3 to 1 mm, giant papillae more than 1 mm. What is pseudogerontoxin? It is seen in vernal keratoconjunctivitis due to recurrent limbal diseases characterized by classical cupid bow appearance outline. It resembles the true gerontoxin, that is nothing but Arcus senilis. So the true gerontoxin is nothing but Arcus senilis. Pseudogerontoxin is seen in vernal keratoconjunctivitis. So the next question can be, name few drugs used in vernal keratoconjunctivitis. These can be topical steroids, mast cell stabilizer, that is sodium chromoglycate, dual action antihistamine and mast cell stabilizer, that is azelastrine, olopatadine, ketotifen. In severe cases, topical cyclosporine, that is 0.5 to 1%, or tacrolimus 0.03% can be used along with the lubricating eye drops. If the itching is very severe, even the systemic antihistamines can be used. Name few cicatricial conjunctival conditions. The answer is ocular mucous membrane pemphigoid, Stevens-Johnson syndrome, or toxic epidermal necrosis. What is Stokes line? It is nothing but iron deposition line seen in corneal epithelium anterior to the advancing edge of the pterygium. What are the indications for pterygium surgery? This is very common question asked in viva. So the indications are cosmetic disfigurement, visual impairment, and the visual impairment can also be asked in viva, like how the pterygium causes visual impairment. The one is when it encroaches on the pupil. The second is by causing significant astigmatism. Again, coming to the indications of surgery, the diplopia due to medial rectus infiltration, or if the symptoms are not reduced by your topical medications. Next, the conjunctival graft. They usually ask from where you get the graft. It is usually from the superotemporal conjunctiva of the same eye. If that eye is affected, go to the other eye and take the graft from superotemporal aspect. And the one more question is the amniotic membrane. From where you get the amniotic membrane? It is usually from the placenta following caesarean section. Then you will get the placenta, in that the amniotic membrane is separated and stored, and that you can use for the grafting purpose. So these are the viva questions. Hope the video was useful. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.